The morning shift alarm echoed through the corridors of the defiant Wanderer as Captain Elena Vasquez made her way to the bridge. Outside the viewport, the vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly, dotted with the distant lights of other ships, traveling the busy trade route between two massive alien empires. The ship looked like any other human cargo vessel from the outside, small, beaten up, and unremarkable. Elena settled into her captain's chair and looked at the status reports on her screen. Everything appeared normal, just as it should. Her ship was supposed to look like a struggling merchant vessel, barely making ends meet by hauling cargo between alien worlds. The truth was very different, but no one outside her crew of 12 knew that. "Morning report, Marcus," she called to her chief engineer, a thin man with grease-stained overalls who was checking the engine readings. "All systems running smooth, Captain," Marcus replied without looking up from his console. "The quantum dampeners are working perfectly. Any alien sensors scanning us will only see what we want them to see." Elena nodded. The Defiant Wanderer was actually one of humanity's most advanced stealth ships, designed to look worthless while carrying some of the most sophisticated spy equipment ever built. For 3 years now, ships like hers had been quietly mapping alien technology and military strength throughout the galaxy. The communication system crackled to life as they received another automated message from Zenthari Traffic Control. The aliens barely acknowledged human ships anymore. When humans first joined the Galactic Commerce Guild 5 years ago, there had been some curiosity about the new species. Now, most aliens saw human traders as nothing more than a minor annoyance. Poor, desperate creatures trying to make a living with outdated technology. "Zenthari Patrol wants our cargo manifest again," said Lieutenant Sarah Kim from the communications station. She was young but experienced, having served on 3 previous intelligence missions. "Send them the same boring list as always," Elena replied. "Agricultural equipment, cultural artifacts, and some basic metals. Nothing worth their time." The manifest was technically true, but it didn't tell the whole story. Hidden beneath layers of false cargo containers, the ship carried experimental weapons, advanced sensor arrays, and a quantum computer that could break most alien encryption codes in minutes. The agricultural equipment was actually a prototype weapon system that had never been tested in real combat. As they continued deeper into the shipping lanes, Elena watched the tactical display showing dozens of other vessels around them. Massive Zenthari cargo haulers, each one 10 times the size of her ship, moved slowly through space carrying goods between worlds. Sleek Republic diplomatic vessels raced past at high speed, their hulls gleaming silver in the starlight. Military escorts from both empires patrolled the borders, their weapon systems always ready for trouble. "Captain, I'm picking up some interesting chatter on the military frequencies," reported Tom Rodriguez, their intelligence specialist. He wore headphones and stared at screens full of alien text scrolling past faster than most humans could read. "What kind of chatter?" Elena asked, walking over to his station. "Border tensions are getting worse. Both sides are moving more ships into this sector. The Zenthari think the Republic is planning something big, and the Republic thinks the Zenthari are getting ready to attack their trade routes." Elena frowned. This was exactly the kind of information their mission was designed to gather. Humanity needed to understand the balance of power between these two alien empires. If war broke out, it could affect human colonies and trade agreements across dozens of star systems. "Keep monitoring everything," she ordered. "I want to know every ship movement, every weapon signature, and every encrypted message we can crack." The bridge crew worked quietly as the ship continued its journey. To anyone watching, they were just another human cargo vessel trying to make an honest living. In reality, they were gathering intelligence that could change the course of galactic politics. Dr. Lisa Chen, the ship's science officer and Marcus's sister, approached Elena with a datapad in her hands. She looked worried about something. "Captain, I've been analyzing the energy signatures from the alien ships around us," she said quietly. Both the Zenthari and Republic fleets are using much more advanced technology than our last reports indicated. How much more advanced? Elena asked. Their shield generators are at least 40% stronger than we expected. Their weapons have better targeting systems and their engines are more efficient. If humans ever had to fight either of these empires, our current military technology wouldn't stand a chance. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Humanity had always known they were the newcomers in galactic civilization, but hearing it stated so clearly was unsettling. Human space was small compared to these massive alien empires, and human technology was centuries behind in most areas. That's why we're out here, she reminded Dr. Chen. Knowledge is power. The more we understand about their capabilities, the better prepared we can be. As the day continued, more alien ships appeared on their sensors. Military vessels from both empires were definitely building up in this region of space. Elena began to worry that they might be flying into the middle of something much bigger than a simple border dispute. The ship's artificial intelligence, which they called Aria, spoke in its calm electronic voice. Captain, I have detected 17 new Zenthari military vessels entering this sector in the past 4 hours. Republic forces are also increasing. Current probability of armed conflict in this region has risen to 73%. Elena looked at her crew. They had trained for this kind of situation, but flying a spy ship through the middle of an alien war zone was not something any of them had actually experienced before. Options? She asked the bridge crew. We could turn around and head back to human space, suggested Sarah. Mission protocols say to avoid active combat zones. Or we could continue the mission, said Tom. This might be our best chance to see how their military technology really works in combat. Elena stared out at the stars, thinking about the decision. If they turned back now, they would return with valuable intelligence, but miss the opportunity to observe an actual battle between two advanced alien civilizations. If they stayed, they might gather information that could save human lives in the future, but they would also be putting her crew at serious risk. We continue the mission, she decided, but we stay on the edge of everything. If shooting starts, we run! The crew nodded their agreement. They all understood the importance of what they were doing, even if it meant facing danger. As the defiant wanderer moved deeper into the contested region of space, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to witness something that would change everything. The aliens saw her ship as nothing more than an insignificant human cargo vessel, not worth their attention or concern. They had no idea what they were really dealing with. Outside the bridge windows, more alien warships appeared in the distance, their hulls bristling with weapons and defensive systems. Elena watched them and wondered if any of those crews realized that the small, battered human freighter nearby was recording every detail of their technology and tactics. The hunt for intelligence continued, and Elena's crew prepared for whatever was coming next. 3 days after entering the disputed border region, Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the defiant Wanderer, watching her tactical display with growing concern. What had started as increased military patrols was quickly turning into something much more dangerous. Both the Zenthari hegemony and the Kithara Republic were moving serious firepower into the area. Tom, what's the latest count on military vessels? She asked her intelligence officer. Tom Rodriguez looked up from his console, where alien ship signatures scrolled across multiple screens. 43 Zenthari warships and 38 Republic vessels, Captain. They're not just patrol boats anymore. Both sides are bringing in their heavy battle cruisers and dreadnoughts. Elena felt her stomach tighten. Dreadnoughts were the largest warships in the galaxy, each one capable of destroying entire space stations. The fact that both empires were deploying them meant this was far beyond a simple border dispute. Any idea what started this buildup? She asked. From what we can intercept, it seems like both sides think the other is planning a major attack, said Sarah Kim from the communications station. The Zenthari believe the Republic is going to try to capture their mining colonies in the Vega sector. The Republic thinks the Zenthari want to blockade their trade routes. Dr. Lisa Chen looked up from her science station with a worried expression. Captain, I'm detecting massive energy buildups from both fleets. Their weapons systems are charging to full power. Elena walked to the main viewport and stared out at the distant lights of alien warships. Each light represented hundreds or thousands of alien lives, and all of them were preparing for a battle that could reshape this entire region of space. Her small human ship was like a tiny insect floating between two groups of giants getting ready to fight. The defiant Wanderer had been maintaining its position on the edge of the gathering fleets, continuing to pose as a simple cargo vessel looking for safe passage through the area. So far, both sides had completely ignored them. To the aliens, one small human freighter was beneath their notice when they had more important things to worry about. Aria, analysis of the tactical situation, Elena requested from the ship's artificial intelligence. Based on current fleet positions and energy readings, the probability of armed conflict has increased to 87%, the AI responded in its calm voice. Both fleets are now in full combat readiness. Estimated time until first weapons. Fire is between 6 and 18 hours. Elena's crew exchanged worried glances. They had wanted to observe alien military technology in action, but being this close to what looked like a major space battle was terrifying. Both alien empires had weapons that could destroy their ship without even trying. Captain, Marcus called, from the engineering station, should we start charging our own weapon systems? Elena considered the question carefully. The defiant Wanderer carried several experimental human weapons, including the prototype quantum disruptor they had never tested in real combat. But powering up their weapons might be detected by alien sensors, which could blow their cover as a harmless merchant vessel. Not yet, she decided. We maintain our disguise as long as possible. If things get too dangerous, we'll run for human space. As the hours passed, the tension in the region continued to build. More ships arrived from both empires until two massive fleets faced each other across a field of asteroids and space debris. Elena had never seen so many warships in one place. The combined firepower could probably destroy an entire planet. The breaking point came when a Zenthari patrol of 5 ships encountered a Republic diplomatic convoy trying to pass through what the Zenthari claimed was their territory. Elena watched on her long-range sensors as the two groups of ships faced off, their commanders exchanging heated words over open communication channels. The Zenthari are demanding that the Republic convoy turn back, Sarah reported, listening to the alien communications. The Republic ships are saying they have legal right of passage under galactic trade agreements. Elena shook her head. Legal arguments meant nothing when both sides had their weapons ready to fire. The situation exploded when Commander Vectar of the Zenthari patrol ship Bloodstriker lost his temper. Elena watched in horror as the Zenthari vessel opened fire. On the Republic diplomatic ship Peaceful Journey. The first shot tore through the Republic ship's shields, and the second shot punched a hole clean through their hull. Republic vessel is taking heavy damage, Dr. Chen reported. They're sending out distress calls. Within minutes, the local encounter became a galaxy-changing incident. Republic forces rushed to help their damaged diplomatic ship, while Zenthari, reinforcements moved to support their patrol. Soon, dozens of ships from both sides were trading weapons fire across the asteroid field. Both fleet commanders are calling in their main forces, Tom reported, his voice tense with excitement and fear. This is it, Captain. We're about to witness the largest space battle in recent galactic history. Elena watched as the two massive fleets began to move toward each other. The Zenthari force was led by Admiral Thekmor in his flagship dreadnought, Void Render, a ship 3 kilometers long and bristling with enough weapons to level a city. The Republic fleet was commanded by Admiral Zaralin from her battlecruiser Star's Edge, smaller than the Zenthari flagship, but faster and more maneuverable. Tom, are you recording everything? Elena asked. Every sensor reading, every communication, and every weapon signature, he confirmed. Human intelligence has never had data like this before. As the fleets approached each other, Elena noticed something that made her both relieved and insulted. Neither fleet commander was paying any attention to her ship. The Defiant Wanderer appeared on their tactical displays as a tiny blip, but it was so small and seemingly unimportant that they didn't even bother to order it out of the area. She intercepted a communication from Admiral Techmore to his staff. Once we finish destroying these Republic dogs, the scavenging humans can pick through the wreckage for scraps. Maybe they'll find something useful in their primitive technology. Admiral Zara Lynn was slightly more considerate, ordering her ships to avoid firing in the direction of that human vessel. We don't want to accidentally destroy it and damage our reputation for protecting neutral traders. Elena felt her anger rising. The aliens saw humans as nothing more than scavengers and primitives, barely worth considering. They had no idea that the harmless human freighter was recording every detail of their military capabilities and tactics. Captain, Sarah called out urgently. Both fleets are moving into final attack positions. Estimated time to major weapons engagement is less than 30 minutes. Elena looked around her bridge at her crew of 12 humans. They were about to witness the most advanced alien military technology in action, which could provide intelligence that would benefit humanity for decades. But they were also about to be caught in the middle of a battle between forces that could destroy them without even noticing. All stations, prepare for combat observation protocols, she ordered. We're going to stay and record everything, but be ready to run if things get too close. Outside the bridge windows, the lights of alien warships grew brighter as they powered up their weapon systems. In a few minutes, this region of space would become a battlefield where the fate of two galactic empires might be decided, and the aliens still had no idea that the small human ship watching from the sidelines was anything more than an insignificant witness to their moment of destiny. The space battle erupted like a deadly fireworks display across the asteroid field. Captain Elena Vasquez watched from the bridge of the Defiant Wanderer as 75 of the galaxy's most powerful warships opened fire on each other with weapons that could crack moons in half. The light from energy beams and explosive missiles lit up the darkness of space in brilliant flashes of blue, red, and white. "Recording everything, Captain," Tom Rodriguez reported from his intelligence station, his fingers flying over controls as he tried to capture every detail of the alien battle tactics. "This is incredible data. Human military command won't believe what these weapons can do." Elena watched the tactical display as the Zenthari Dreadnought Void Render fired its main plasma cannons at a group of Republic cruisers. The energy beam was so powerful it destroyed one ship completely and severely damaged two others with a single shot. At the same time, Republic vessels were using some kind of quantum torpedo that could curve around obstacles and strike targets from unexpected angles. "Both sides are using technology we've never seen before," Dr. Lisa Chen called out from her science station. "I'm detecting weapons that manipulate space-time itself. The energy output is beyond anything humans have ever achieved." The Defiant Wanderer maintained its position on the edge of the battle, continuing to pretend it was just a simple cargo ship caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Elena had sent several messages to both fleet commanders requesting permission to leave the area, but neither side bothered to respond. They were too busy trying to destroy each other to worry about one insignificant human vessel. Marcus Chen worked frantically at the engineering station, monitoring their ship's stealth systems. "Quantum dampeners are holding steady, Captain. As far as their sensors can tell, we're just a basic freighter with primitive technology." The battle was incredibly violent, but also strangely beautiful. Elena had studied space combat in training simulations, but nothing had prepared her for the reality of watching advanced civilizations trying to annihilate each other. Ships that had taken years to build were being destroyed in seconds by weapons that turned matter itself into energy. "Sarah, any communication between the fleet commanders?" Elena asked. "They've stopped talking to each other," Sarah Kim replied from the communications station. Both sides are completely focused on battle tactics now. Admiral Theckamore is trying to use his dreadnought's size advantage to break through the Republic. Formation. Admiral Zara Lynn is using hit-and-run attacks to wear down the Zenthari ships. For 2 hours, the battle raged around them while the defiant Wanderer continued recording everything. Elena began to think they might actually survive to bring this intelligence back to human space. Both alien fleets were so focused on each other that her ship had become invisible to them. Then disaster struck. A Republic missile cruiser called Swift Vengeance fired a salvo of 6 quantum torpedoes at a Zenthari battleship. The Zenthari ship's point defense systems managed to intercept 4 of the missiles, but the 5th torpedo was damaged by defensive fire and began spinning out of control. Instead of hitting its intended target, the damaged missile curved through space in a wild spiral before detonating against the port side of the defiant Wanderer. The explosion threw Elena from her captain's chair and sent her crew tumbling across the bridge. Alarms screamed throughout the ship as bulkheads buckled and systems failed. The lights flickered and went out, leaving them in the red glow of emergency power. "Damage report!" Elena shouted as she pulled herself back to her feet. "Hull breach in Cargo Bay 2!" Marcus called out, his voice strained. "We've lost main engines and primary power. Life support is on backup systems." "Anyone hurt?" Elena asked, looking around the bridge. Her crew was shaken up but appeared to be alive and functional. "Tom has a broken arm, but everyone else is okay," Dr. Chen reported as she helped the intelligence officer back to his station. Elena felt anger burning in her chest. Her ship had been hit by accident because the alien commanders couldn't be bothered to pay attention to where their weapons were flying. To them, the human vessel was so unimportant that they didn't even notice when their own missile destroyed it. "Captain, we're drifting into the combat zone," Sarah warned, checking the navigation systems. "Without engines, we can't control our course." Elena looked at the tactical display and felt her blood turn cold. The damaged ship was slowly floating toward the center of the battle, where massive alien warships were exchanging fire at point-blank range. If they couldn't restore engine power soon, they would drift right into the path of those devastating weapons. "Marcus, how long to get engines back online?" she asked. "At least 20 minutes, he replied, crawling under a damaged console to reach the power couplings. "Maybe longer if the quantum core was damaged." "We don't have 20 minutes, Elena said, watching as a Zenthari destroyer exploded less than a kilometer away from their position. "At our current drift rate, we'll be in the middle of the heaviest fighting in 10 minutes. The situation got worse when Elena noticed that the massive Zenthari dreadnought Void Render was turning toward their position. The ship was 3 kilometers of armored death, mounting weapons that could punch through planetary defenses. And according to the tactical display, it was moving directly toward the space where the defiant Wanderer was drifting. "Sarah, send an emergency distress call to the Void Render," Elena ordered. "Tell them we're a civilian vessel with damaged engines." Sarah tried for several minutes before shaking her head. "They're not responding, Captain. I don't think they're even listening to civilian frequencies." Elena watched in growing horror as the massive alien dreadnought approached their position. Its forward weapons were charging up to fire at Republic ships on the other side of where the human vessel was floating. The alien gunners either didn't notice the small ship in their targeting path, or they simply didn't care about destroying it. "Captain," Tom said urgently despite his broken arm, "I'm intercepting communications from the Void Render. Their weapons officer is asking Admiral Theckamore about the human ship in their firing solution." "What did the Admiral say?" Elena asked, though she was afraid she already knew the answer. Tom's face was grim. "He told them to fire through the human vessel. His exact words were, 'Let the humans learn to stay out of our wars the hard way.'" Elena felt a cold rage building inside her chest. The alien admiral was planning to murder her crew simply because they were in his way. To him, 12 human lives meant nothing compared to destroying enemy ships. "Marcus, engine status?" she called. "Out. Still working on it. came the muffled reply from under the engineering console. "The quantum core is responding, but the power relays are completely fried." Elena stared at the approaching dreadnought and realized they were out of time and options. The Void Render would fire its massive weapons in less than 2 minutes, and there was no way the defiant Wanderer could survive that kind of attack. But they weren't completely helpless. "All hands, prepare for emergency power transfer to forward weapons systems," Elena announced over the ship's intercom. Her crew looked at her in surprise. Everyone knew that the defiant Wanderer carried experimental weapons, but using them would reveal that they weren't actually a harmless cargo ship. "Captain," Dr. Chen said quietly, "if we fire our weapons, both alien fleets will know we're not what we appear to be." Elena looked around her bridge at the faces of her crew. These 12 people had volunteered for a dangerous intelligence mission because they believed it would help protect humanity's future. Now they were about to die because an alien admiral considered their lives worthless. "The mission has changed," she announced. "It's time to show these aliens that humans are not as helpless as they think." She turned to Marcus, who was still working on the engines. "Forget the engines. Transfer all power to the quantum disruptor." Marcus looked up at her with wide eyes. "Captain, that weapon has never been tested in real combat. We don't know if it will work, and firing it will drain all our power." "Then we better make sure it works," Elena replied grimly. Outside the bridge windows, the lights of the Void Render's weapons grew brighter as the massive alien ship prepared to fire through their position. Elena sat down in her captain's chair and placed her hand on the weapon's control panel. It was time to find out if human technology was really as primitive as the aliens believed. Captain Elena Vasquez placed her palm on the quantum disruptor activation panel as the massive Xanthari Dreadnought Void Render lined up its weapons to fire through her ship's position. Around her, the bridge crew of the defiant Wanderer worked frantically to prepare their experimental weapon system for its first real combat test. "Power transfer complete," Marcus Chen called out from the engineering station. "All available energy is now routed to the quantum disruptor. We'll have one shot, then we'll be running on emergency power only." Elena stared at the tactical display, showing the approaching 3-kilometer-long alien warship. The Void Render mounted enough firepower to destroy a space station, and its commander had just decided that 12 human lives weren't worth the trouble of adjusting his aim. "Dr. Chen, explain to me one more time how this weapon is supposed to work," Elena said, wanting to make sure she understood what they were about to unleash. Dr. Lisa Chen looked up from her science station, her face pale but determined. "The quantum disruptor sends out a cascading field that interferes with the quantum foundations of energy shields and power generation systems. When we studied captured alien technology, we discovered that both the Xanthari and Republic empires use very similar quantum field generators for their shields and main power." "And the weakness?" Elena asked. "They all operate on the same basic frequency patterns," Lisa explained. "Human scientists found that if you hit that frequency with the right kind of interference, it causes a resonance failure that spreads through all connected systems." Tom Rodriguez looked up from his intelligence station, his broken arm in a makeshift sling. "Captain, what if the weapon doesn't work? What if human technology really is too primitive to affect their ships?" Elena had been wondering the same thing. Human science was centuries behind these alien civilizations in most areas. The quantum disruptor was based on theoretical principles that looked good on paper, but had never been tested against real alien military technology. "Then we'll find out together," she replied. "Sarah, are you recording everything?" "Every sensor. Reading an energy signature," Sarah Kim confirmed from the communications station. "If this works, human command will want to study every detail." The Void Render was now less than 30 seconds from firing position. Elena could see the massive plasma cannons on the alien dreadnought glowing brighter as they built up energy for their devastating attack. Around them, the space battle continued to rage as dozens of other alien ships fought for survival. "Area, final analysis of our target's shield frequency, Elena requested from the ship's artificial intelligence. Zenthari shield generators are operating at quantum frequency 847.3 terahertz, the AI replied in its calm voice. Disruptor weapon is calibrated to target that exact frequency. Probability of successful resonance cascade is estimated at 67%. Those weren't the best odds Elena had ever heard, but they were better than the 0% chance of surviving the Void Render's main guns. All stations, prepare for quantum disruptor firing, she announced. Marcus checked his engineering. Displays one final time. Weapon charged and ready, Captain. Targeting the Void Render's primary shield generators. Elena took a deep breath and looked around her bridge one last time. If this weapon failed, her crew would be dead in less than a minute. If it worked, they might change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Fire, she ordered. The quantum disruptor didn't create a visible beam or projectile. Instead, it generated a wave of quantum interference that moved outward from the defiant wanderer at the speed of light. Elena watched her instruments as the invisible field swept toward the Zenthari dreadnought. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The Void Render continued approaching, its weapons still charging for the fatal shot. Elena began to wonder if the weapon had failed completely. Then the alien ship's shield started to flicker. "I'm detecting quantum resonance in their shield generators," Dr. Chen reported excitedly. "The interference is spreading through their power grid." Elena watched in amazement as the massive dreadnought's shields collapsed completely. But that wasn't the end of it. The quantum cascade continued spreading through the ship's power systems, causing failures in one system after another. "Their main engines are shutting down," Tom reported, monitoring the alien ship's energy signatures. "Power core is destabilizing. They're losing life support on multiple decks." The Void Render had stopped moving and was now drifting helplessly in space. Its weapons had powered down, and emergency lights were flickering along its hull. The mighty Zenthari flagship had been reduced to a powerless hulk in less than 30 seconds, but the quantum disruptor's effects weren't limited to just one ship. "Captain," Sarah called out urgently, "the quantum interference is spreading to other vessels. It's jumping from ship to ship through their communication links and targeting systems." Elena watched her tactical display with growing amazement and horror as the quantum cascade spread throughout both alien fleets. Every ship that had been networked together for battle coordination was now experiencing the same catastrophic system failures. Zenthari battle cruisers found their shields collapsing, and their engines shutting down. Republic destroyers watched their weapons go offline as their power cores began to overload. The quantum interference spread like a plague through both fleets, attacking the fundamental technology that all their ships depended on. "How is this possible?" Elena asked, staring at the tactical display in disbelief. Dr. Chen was frantically checking her instruments. "Both empires use very similar technology for their quantum field generators. When the disruptor hit the Void Render, it created a resonance pattern that spread through their fleet communication network to every connected ship. They're all experiencing cascading system failures." Elena watched as ship after ship went dark on her sensors. Some vessels managed to shut down their main systems before the cascade could destroy them completely, leaving their crews stranded but alive. Others weren't so lucky. Their power cores overloaded and exploded, taking hundreds of alien lives with them. "Admiral Thekmore is sending out emergency distress calls," Sarah reported. "He's ordering all ships to completely shut down their quantum systems to stop the cascade from spreading further." "What about the Republic fleet?" Elena asked. Tom checked his intelligence screens. "Admiral Zaralin is doing the same thing. Both fleets are essentially dead in space. The few ships that managed to avoid the cascade are now defenseless because they had to shut down all their advanced systems." Elena felt a mixture of triumph and terror as she realized what they had accomplished. The quantum disruptor had worked, far better than anyone had expected. Instead of disabling one ship, it had effectively destroyed two of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. "Marcus, what's our power status?" she asked. "We're running on emergency power only," he replied. "But life support is stable, and basic systems are functioning. The quantum disruptor drained everything we had, but it was worth it." Elena looked out the bridge windows at the battlefield that had become a graveyard. Dozens of massive alien warships floated helplessly in space, their crews either dead or struggling to survive on emergency power. The ships that had seemed so powerful and threatening just minutes ago were now as helpless as her own damaged freighter. "Sarah, start broadcasting rescue coordinates on all emergency frequencies," Elena ordered. "We may have been forced to defend ourselves, but we're not going to let alien crews die if we can help it." As her crew began coordinating rescue efforts, Elena composed an encrypted message to Human Military Command. The message was simple but would change everything. "Field test of quantum disruptor successful beyond all expectations. Recommend immediate mass production and deployment. Aliens' technological advantage may not be as significant as previously believed." She looked around her bridge at the 12 humans who had just proved that their species was far from helpless. The aliens had dismissed them as primitive scavengers not worth considering as a threat. They would never make that mistake again. Outside the bridge windows, the lights of alien ships flickered weakly in the darkness as their crews struggled to survive the catastrophic failure of technology they had thought was unbeatable. The balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted, and the aliens didn't even realize it yet. The small, unremarkable human freighter continued broadcasting rescue coordinates while its crew quietly documented the effectiveness of humanity's first devastating strike against alien overconfidence. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Defiant Wanderer and watched as rescue ships from both alien empires arrived to help the survivors of what would become known as the Battle of the Asteroid Fields. 3 days had passed since the quantum disruptor test, and the aftermath was still unfolding across the galaxy. "Final count from the battle site," Tom Rodriguez reported from his intelligence station, his broken arm now properly treated by Dr. Chen. 75 ships disabled or destroyed, approximately 12,000 alien casualties, though most crews survived thanks to our rescue broadcasts. Elena nodded solemnly. She felt no joy about the massive loss of life, even though the aliens had been planning to kill her crew without a second thought. The quantum disruptor had worked far better than anyone expected, turning what should have been a single ship weapon test into the destruction of 2 entire fleets. "Any word from the investigation teams?" she asked Sarah Kim at the communications station. "Both empires are calling it the greatest military disaster in galactic history," Sarah replied. "But the official reports are blaming equipment failure and quantum storms, not enemy action. Most of the surviving alien crews don't know what really happened to their ships." Elena wasn't surprised. The idea that a small human cargo vessel could disable the most advanced warships in the galaxy was too unbelievable for most aliens to accept. It was easier for them to believe in mysterious equipment failures than to admit that the primitive humans had superior technology in any area. Dr. Lisa Chen looked up from her science station where she had been analyzing the battle data. "Captain, I've been studying the quantum cascade effects. The disruptor was even more effective than our theoretical models predicted. The interference pattern spread through both fleets' communication networks like a computer virus, but one that attacked physical quantum systems instead of software." "How many alien ships were actually destroyed versus just disabled?" Elena asked. 37 total destroyed when their power cores overloaded," Lisa replied. "The other 38 suffered complete system shutdown but could potentially be repaired. However, both empires will need to completely redesign their shield generators and power systems to prevent this from happening again." Marcus Chen emerged from the engineering section with a satisfied expression on his grease-stained face. "Main engines are back online, Captain. We've also managed to restore partial power to all ship systems. The quantum disruptor is recharged and ready for another test if needed." Elena hoped they wouldn't need another test anytime soon. One demonstration of human capability was enough for now. "Tom, what's the intelligence value of what we've gathered?" she asked. Tom gestured to the massive amount of data stored in their computer systems. "This is the most complete analysis of alien military technology that humanity has ever obtained. We now know the exact specifications of their weapons, shields, engines, and communication systems. More importantly, we know their weaknesses." Elena walked to the main viewport and stared out at the distant lights of alien rescue ships still, working to save survivors from the battle. In the 3 days since the quantum disruptor test, she had been thinking about what this meant for humanity's future in the galaxy. "Aria, compose a message to Human Space Command," she ordered the ships. "Artificial intelligence. Message composition ready, Captain," the AI replied. Elena chose her words carefully, knowing that this report would shape human military policy for years to come. Priority message to Admiral Chen, Human Space Command. Mission objectives exceeded beyond all parameters. Quantum disruptor field test successful with unexpected cascade effects. Recommend immediate classified briefing upon return. Alien technology vulnerabilities identified and documented. Tactical advantage now heavily favors human forces equipped with quantum disruptor technology. Requesting permission to begin covert. Return to human space. She paused, then added, "Also recommend immediate production and deployment of quantum disruptor systems to human military vessels. The galaxy's balance of power has shifted, and we need to be prepared for the consequences." Message. "Encrypted and ready for transmission," Aria confirmed. "Send it," Elena ordered. As the message raced toward human space at faster-than-light speeds, Elena considered what would happen next. Human ships were already scattered throughout the galaxy, many of them disguised as harmless cargo vessels, just like the Defiant Wanderer. Within months, hundreds of them could be equipped with quantum disruptor technology. "Captain," Sarah called out, "I'm receiving a priority message from Zenthari High Command. They're offering a reward for any information about what caused the fleet disaster." Elena couldn't help but smile. "What kind of reward?" 10 million galactic credits and guaranteed safe passage for any species that can provide technical data about the quantum anomaly that destroyed their fleets." "Ironic," Tom commented. "They're offering to pay for information about the weapon that destroyed them, and they're broadcasting the offer to every human ship in the galaxy." Elena made a decision that she knew would change everything. "Sarah, compose a response to the Zenthari offer." "What should I tell them, Captain?" "Tell them that the human cargo vessel Defiant Wanderer has some limited sensor data from the incident that we'd be willing to share in exchange for safe passage through Zenthari space." Her crew looked at her in surprise. Dr. Chen spoke up first. "Captain, are you planning to actually meet with Zenthari officials?" "Think about it," Elena explained. "We can give them sensor data that shows exactly what happened to their ships, but we can make it look like the quantum cascade was a natural phenomenon caused by the intensity of the battle. They'll never suspect that a human weapon caused it." Marcus grinned. "And while they're studying our sensor data, we'll be recording their base security systems and military protocols." "Exactly," Elena confirmed. "We'll turn their investigation into another intelligence gathering opportunity." Over the following hours, Elena's crew prepared for their meeting with Zenthari investigators. They carefully edited their sensor data to remove any evidence of the quantum disruptor, making it appear that the cascade had been triggered by the interaction between alien weapons fire and naturally occurring quantum fields in the asteroid belt. The edited data was technically accurate. It showed exactly what had happened to the alien ships, but it didn't reveal the human weapon that had started the cascade. To alien scientists studying the data, it would look like a rare but natural phenomenon that could potentially be prevented by adjusting their shield frequencies. "The beauty of this approach," Dr. Chen noted as she worked on the data editing, "is that if they follow our recommendations to prevent future cascade failures, They'll actually make their ships more vulnerable to our quantum disruptor technology. Elena approved the final version of their fake sensor data and prepared to transmit it to Zenthari High Command. The aliens would study it for months, never realizing that they were looking at evidence of their own technological inferiority. As the defiant Wanderer began its journey toward the meeting point with Zenthari investigators, Elena reflected on how much had changed in just a few days. When they had entered this region of space, humans were seen as harmless scavengers barely worth noticing. Now, they possessed technology that could cripple the most advanced alien fleets. But the real advantage wasn't just the quantum disruptor. It was the fact that the aliens still didn't know humans were responsible for destroying their fleets. That ignorance would allow human intelligence ships to continue operating throughout the galaxy, gathering information and positioning themselves for whatever came next. "Captain," Tom said quietly, "do you think the aliens will ever figure out what really happened?" Elena looked out at the stars and thought about the hundreds of human ships scattered across the galaxy, many of them now carrying quantum disruptor technology disguised as agricultural equipment or mining tools. "Eventually," she admitted. "But by the time they realize the truth, it will be too late. Humanity will no longer be the helpless newcomers that everyone can safely ignore." She turned to her crew with a determined expression. "We've just proved that human ingenuity can overcome alien arrogance. Now it's time to make sure the rest of humanity is ready for the galaxy to find that out." Outside the bridge windows, the stars seemed brighter somehow, full of possibilities that hadn't existed before a small human freighter had shown the galaxy that there were still surprises to be found among the newest members of galactic civilization. The defiant Wanderer continued on its course, carrying its crew of 12 humans who had just changed the course of galactic history without the galaxy even knowing it. Behind them, alien investigators continued searching for answers to a mystery they would never solve, while ahead of them lay a future where humanity would never again be dismissed as insignificant. The hunt for intelligence had become something much more important, the first strike in humanity's quiet campaign to earn the respect they deserved among the stars.